Hello ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? It's your boy Iz33. Welcome to this week's Anarchy Analysis Match of the Week. We're doing a game cast for this one because I realistically couldn't find anything that I wanted to break down normally for this. And as such, we're just going to cast the entire game as we load into Champion Select. We already see the Caitlyn ban coming out from Team Liquid here. Obviously, Caitlyn has risen in priority for a lot of teams in this patch. Obviously, the sieging champion in that bot lane, and the counterpart is banned out in terms of top ADCs in the Kalista. And then it's followed by a TF from Team Liquid. And then the Azir by TSM. We haven't had a chance to actually discuss any of the three picks after Caitlyn. So, Kalista, very well rounded, obviously. A lot of mobility in her kit, obviously very good at setting up engages, similarly to the set who loves setting up engages as well. TF, a great split push roam champion, something Bjergsen has whipped out before, very strong in terms of his champion pool, and realistically would be a carry point for TSM. Set, the final ban in this first phase for Team Liquid, a strong engage heavy champion. Obviously you've got the pull-ins, you've got close quarters damage, as well as the showstopper ult to do a lot of work. As for the last band from TSM, the Azir, obviously it's a Jensen champion because it's a very strong control mage. Obviously you use the Sand Soldiers, get a lot of attack speed and go down that route. And the Volibear is a very strong dueling jungler for early game to kind of match out the set. So realistically, it's a trade of top junglers in terms of the bands. Anyway, looking at the first pick in this game, it's going to be the Ashe for Team Liquid. The champion's very good in terms of setting up plays with the Ashe arrow, and realistically is very good at vision control with the hawk shots. And you don't normally talk about Ashe for vision, more so for her actual power in terms of team fighting and setting up plays, which you have to rely on them hawk shots to actually set up. Anyway, TSM respond with probably the safest bot lane option that's actually available, other than an Ezreal or maybe an Aphelios who has technically dropped down in priority. But Zyra Rakan is the bot lane for TSM. Got a lot of engage in that kit with the Rakan and a lot of safety with the Zyra. You've got a lot of protection. I don't like this Thresh pick. If they were to lock it in here, Team Liquid, I would prefer to say a Tom Kench, but Graves is going to be the lock in here for Team Liquid in the jungle. They're going to have two ADCs on the map already with the Ashe as well locked in, and it is going to be the Thresh locked in as their third pick in this first phase. I'm not a big fan of it. As I said, I prefer a Tom Kench instead of the Thresh, but I guess Thresh works a bit better in terms of long range safety with the Lantern, which is why you pick it over the Tom Kench, who you have to gobble them up and then get hit by the range entrance by the Rakan, but it's kind of a fair trade in terms of actual supports. Lee Sin, last pick up in this phase for TSM. It's a champion that Speaker hasn't played that much in this split. I don't think he's been relying more on these tanky options like the Sedge, Graves. Hasn't been too prioritized by him either. I would say he's more the Sedge Volibear set champion junglers as a pool for him as a whole, but yeah, he goes for the Lee Sin, so he's looking to create engages with the Rakan. So if he can get into the backline, it provides Rakan a bit more entry in there, as well as the fact that he can kick them into the Rakan W to get a very long and drawn out stun onto a champion. Nonetheless, let's have a look-see at this second ban phase. We've already seen two bans coming through in the Ornn for TSM. Obviously, they're learning from their mistakes, having probably the worst record against Ornn in the LCS. As a whole, very strong champion in that top lane. Provides a lot of safety to Impact, and a champion that I expect maybe banned out against Impact here would be the Shen, if we see it as the TSM's last ban in this phase. And for the game, it's actually going to be mod, so they're probably looking for, say, a Galio, maybe mid for TSM, or a champion that can obviously affect team fights a lot more. Probably the mod would do a lot of work against Rakan, so I like that ban technically by TSM, but it does leave open the likes of the Shen, the Aurelias of Broken Blade still technically up, and looking at Team Liquid's first ban in the second phase, it is LeBlanc. as a whole, very strong champion, and it is a Bjergsen sort of pick. And there's the Galio ban coming out from Team Liquid. I'm actually not surprised that gets banned, considering how I said I would like TSM to pick up the Galio because of the mod ban that they've gone with. Now, last phase of picks here is going to be kicked off with probably Bjergsen's pick here, unless they want to save counter pick, and it is going to be the Zoe lock-in here for Bjergsen, something that he hasn't played too much of this split, but it is a very strong champion in terms of his wheelhouse. He could play it actually really nicely in terms of his skills. It fits him quite well with the amount of poke that he likes to get down. The Sedge I don't think would come through here, but Team Liquid probably going to answer with probably a counter into the Zoe. Either Ori or Syndra would work. I like Syndra a lot actually with this team comp that Team Liquid has, because it provides so much actual protection with the Scatter of the Weak. You can essentially push back the TSM engage with a good enough E. You're essentially, when Lee Sin tries to come forward to you, you just press Scatter of the Weak. Bye, you're not coming anywhere near. Similarly to the Rakan, the same thing could happen, so I like that ban. And the last pick in this phase for Team Liquid is the Shen. Its Impact's probably special pick. I do believe he got a world skin on SKT for it, and it's a very strong champion. Obviously you got the Stand United to affect the map, and with how Team Liquid have drafted with the 3 carries and then the Thresh and now a Shen, there's a lot of carry options that could essentially get protected here by that Shen, as well as the fact that he can also get them ahead with that ult, and he'll be very good at affecting the map. And you kind of have to match global with global here if you're TSM, and going with the other safe blind pickable top laner in the GP is a good option, I guess I would say. Obviously you've got the barrel chains that can work quite well if the Rakan's able to charm up targets into a close area. You can land a massive barrel onto maybe all the carries of Team Liquid, but TSM have a fairly squishy comp, and only the Shen and the Thresh on the Team Liquid side is a bit tanky, but both teams have got quite a lot of squishy champions on their teams, and there is realistically a lot of damage on either side. Obviously you've got the Zoe with her paddle stars doing tons of AP damage, and GP and the barrels doing a lot of AD damage on TSM side. As for the Team Liquid side, you've got a Syndra who can just ult you down with her AP powered ult, and then you've also got the Ashe with her big AD damage. But nonetheless, 2 teams roaming out onto the rift here, going through mid here. TSM possibly looking to set up a nice protection on this top half of the map, and or try and catch out Jensen, who does usually just come straight to mid. He isn't one for level 1 plays, but TSM are going to roam down to this bottom half of the map. TSM are one of the teams that have been known to make level 1 plays in this split, and they're looking to realistically make one here, as they have now been spotted by the ward there. They're just going to put that down and then roam back to their lanes or recall to switch out maybe the trinkets, but Doublelift isn't going to switch out his. He's just going to use yellow trinket and keep a hold and realistically go with that route. Now, as we look at the map right now, junglers are down on their red buffs right now. Lee Sin is just making his way to his. Graves is currently sat in the brush next to us, so realistically it's going to be a trade of buffs here, and I wouldn't expect anything crazy like an early invade from either jungler. Graves has probably one of the best clears, but Lee Sin also has a very good early game, so realistically he'll get through the camps roughly about the same time as the Graves. Topside map, we're going to see GP into Shen. Realistically early, it will be quite even. They both have grasp, so they'll build up a lot of health, as we see a big trade of damage onto Treats here, as Ashe is firing in tons of shots, but the trade's coming back from Zionao, who evens it out, I would say, in terms of the damage, as more and more damage is just being piled onto Core JJ here, who is looking for a play. That being said, TSM have been forced off of the wave. They'll not hit level 2 first, as there we go, Team Liquid hit it, and this is the part of the map where we should be seeing possibly a play bot side. Obviously, Lee Sin is hovering around here because he's actually clearing out his camps, and Ash spots him out. As we flip up to top side, GP and Shen just trading quite evenly here. Obviously, they're gonna be trading HP back, and realistically, the level lead should be evened out. Obviously, GP will start getting a push if the barrel chains land and does a lot of damage. Obviously, Shen is looking to last hit them barrels before they're able to do anything, and realistically, the CS should be advantage to GP as he's building up a stack of minions here. 2 waves have collided together already. I don't know if Broxer was spotted out there as he went to the scuttle, but mid-wave we are going to see the Hextech GLP picked up here. The Sleeper Trouble Bubble is going to land, and so is this Onic Wave, but nothing's going to be burnt here by Jensen, other than he's just going to walk back to the wave and burn a bit of mana, clearing the minion wave. However, because Team Liquid saw Speaker head to the bot side of the map, Broxer is going to start to count a jungle. He's gone into the red side top jungle and taken a Krugs. Obviously, we may see Broken Blade spot him out here, in which he does. He's going to get a few autos and a gunshot. 2 autos and the gun is fired off. Maybe a barrel chain? Nah, he's too far away right now. So he's just going to walk away, and Broken Blade's going to pop that barrel, walk back to the wave, and probably even out the CS that he's just lost. And interesting to note, Broken Blade, when he went back to base there, he bought up a cult and refilled his corrupting potions, and he didn't TP back. He didn't want to lose TP advantage, and TP advantage is something that's quite huge in this matchup, I would say, as Shen technically has 2 TPs once he hits level 6, and Broken Blade only has the one with his summoner version of it, and realistically, as a ADC as Thresh may be caught out here. Ooh, lovely timing as the hook is gonna be buffered there by TSM, narrowly getting back to base. But the interesting thing about that top matchup is, yes, they both have globals, but one is more protective with the Stand United. The other is more aggressive in setting up a play in the Cannon Barrage. And as a whole, I much would rather have the Stand United over the Cannon Barrage, as you're getting an extra member in the team fight who can provide a lot more use than just, say, a ultimate. And as a whole, can set up a lot more plays. That being said, it is a GP who can obviously get pressure on this top side map like he's doing right now, putting Impact down below half HP. He's forced to go back to base maybe here, as Speaker is looking to cut him into the top side jungle and possibly set up a play, but Team Liquid probably are aware of this and they've gone back and recalled, as Speaker is not going to get anything, as Shen is going to use his TP back to the top lane. Obviously, he has got that extra one in his back pocket, so he realistically doesn't care if he uses his summoner one. Obviously, we may see actually a play here, as Rakan is going to W forward and force the flash out Core JJ. Bjergsen is going to roam back up to mid. Obviously, he has got Summoner Spellbook, and he switched it out for a heal. And yeah, so TSM trying to force pressure down this bot side, obviously trading a flash for a TP, even though it's a Summoner Spellbook. And yeah, that being said, Team Liquid have got bot lane pressure, even though Bjergsen was down here. He didn't get any wards placed down onto this Drake, and Team Liquid just go straight for the Infernal Drake. Rakan may come try and contest this. He probably shouldn't realistically, because he probably would be hooked. But Ash is hanging around here as TSM may look to contest this. Sonic Wave is going to land onto the Drake, and Speaker is coming forward. Stun Unite is coming through as Cannon Barrage is just burning through, and that is going to be Drake over to Team Liquid, and Thresh is going to pick up the kill onto Speaker. That is Team Liquid getting it all in this play. 1k gold lead already from that. And yeah, I like that a lot from Team Liquid there. You bait TSM to come to the Infernal Drake and then punish when they try and go aggressive, as Rakan there is not going to hit the W. And all that's going to happen is TSM are going to lose pressure on the map now because they lost their jungler. Anyway, we'll watch this play again. Keep your eyes on Speaker. He lands a Sonic Wave. He uses his W onto Rakan there a bit too aggressively, I guess. I don't like it at all. He comes straight forward. He is nearsighted by the Graves putting the blind on him. Then, because the Stand United comes straight through onto Broxer, he just taunts up Speaker once he arrives in the fight. When that happens, it's just essentially a death sentence, and yeah, he's dead. Not much could realistically happen there for the Lee Sin to actually get away from it, because the blindness created by the near sight of the Graves' smokescreen just makes it impossible to see, and realistically no safety for him, which is a very nice thing to see. Get it? See? When you can't see anything? My puns are lost on myself. Anyway, look at the gold difference right now. Only a 200 gold lead advantage here for GP. Even though he's been getting the push in, he's still kept, Shen's still kept up in CS and realistically been farming quite well. Midwave, to the 200 gold is even out, and realistically there isn't too much of a gold lead across the map between either team, as most of the gold leads are even out in the lanes. But obviously Team Liquid picking up the first blood and 4 assists across the board, as well as a Drake, realistically is where that gold is coming from, as Team Liquid are controlling these objectives early in the early game here quite well. Obviously Broxer, known for his objective play, is going straight from Drake to Harold. TSM realistically cannot contest this, because realistically they're way too late to the play if they are, because Double Lift only has just got to his inhib turret, whereas the bot lane for Team Liquid are already up in the top wave pushing it in, and it's just slow reactions here from TSM to the plays, as they're kind of not keeping up with everything, and when they are, they're just getting outplayed by the macro from Team Liquid, and as a whole, that is a huge thing to say, as we may see a dive here as Death Sentence is not going to land onto Treats there. He just walks straight forward to Core JJ, probably expecting maybe a dodge out of the Rakan there to obviously keep himself alive, but nope, he just walks straight forward, avoiding any damage, and that does mean that Speaker gets access to his Krugs for the first time in this game. Looking at midwave now, we've got a fairly even trade here as Bjergsen only 6 minions behind the Syndra in probably a losing matchup for him. Obviously, he had to pick his mid laner before Jensen picked his, so it is a fairly disadvantaged matchup, I would say, for the Zoe, because obviously Syndra is just waiting for the Zoe to portal forward. When she does that and goes back to her starting location, she just gets hit by the Scatter of the Week, and then full comboed by Syndra if she wants to in order to kill. But it comes down to how the Syndra wants to play it, and Jensen is known for having probably one of the best Syndras in this league. Obviously, it's a champion that was known to be Bjergsen's pick, I would say, when he first came to the league. Obviously, Bjergsen was known for his LeBlanc, his Zed, and his Syndra. He has got a godly record, I do believe, on this champion. And it's a shame that he isn't the one piloting it, but instead he's on his Zoe, which realistically I haven't seen too much of this year, and I think it might have a negative win record on it, because it's something that he doesn't play too much, as we do see Core JJ getting the money into his back pocket here from the wards. Anyway, big item pickup now for the Xayah, as her Essence Reaver has come online for her first item obviously that will provide a lot of cooldown reduction. Something you realistically want on her to obviously get the maximum out of your feathers. Obviously, the more feathers out, the more you can actually get the recall back with them. You get more damage out of them, and that is a good thing, as we are going to see TSM getting an uncontested Drake. I'm actually surprised by this, because Team Liquid aren't playing towards this bot side of the map, even though they have been really good at controlling the objectives. Instead, they're just staying topside. They're probably going to get this turret. Probably look to get this turret anyway, as they're dropping a Herald now. This should kill, I do believe. At this point, it's low enough it takes 2 plates. Yep, there we go. First turret blood over to Team Liquid. So instead of playing Drake, as we may see a gank here, as Shen is caught out here, the quickness is going to lock him up, and that is going to be TSM's first kill in this fight. But Team Liquid still pushing topside. They're going to get 2 turrets out of this play, and it's a kill and a Drake for 2 turrets in the top side of the map, and make that probably 1 turret advantage for Team Liquid, as TSM should realistically get this turret with the full turret plating going into their back pockets. Obviously, that is falling in less than 30 seconds from now, and realistically, if you're TSM, you need to either make a play at this stage, or probably try and just farm it out and get to your power spikes. And you look at the champions on the Team Liquid side, they probably scale slightly better than yours. So you can't exactly think about doing the latter option too hard, because you realistically need to shut down some of these Team Liquid members before that gets online. I like that they went for the Shen, because he was obviously into the 2v1 matchup, and he was obviously caught out by a gank by sending multiple members to him. But you look at the Graves, you look at the Syndra, you look at the Ashe, the main carries on this Team Liquid side. If you're TSM, if you can put them behind right now, or any one of them behind right now, that would probably be a very strong thing to do, and would probably keep you in the game, as it would limit the power for one of these carries. And I would probably target either the Ashe or the Graves. No, I wouldn't target them. I'd target the Syndra, actually. I would try and put Jensen behind. Jensen's probably one of the most known players to tilt in League of Legends, and it's a sad thing to say that, considering how good he is as a player. But if you target him quite heavily, as lovely Sleepy Trouble Bubble is going to land, and that is a lot of damage coming through. It's going to force us Stand United out. So TSM are listening to what I say. They went for a play onto Jensen, and Jensen realistically is the person you want to target, because he's the main source of AP damage in this Team Liquid comp. And as such, you should probably try and put him behind, keep him out of his power spikes, which he'll probably want is the Spellbinder, maybe even the Death Cap. You don't want him reaching them points. You want Bjergsen hitting them points first, so that he provides a lot more power. And that being said, we are going to see another trade of summoner spells there, as Bjergsen uses Flash to get a massive chunk down onto Jensen there, as well as Jensen used both his summoners to obviously get back to lane and stay alive in that play. That being said, both mid laners have just picked up their Ludens Echoes, and it's interesting to note the boots that they have picked up. Zoe has picked up the Mercury Treads, as Team Liquid have gone straight to this Herald. Don't expect Speaker to try and contest this. If he does, that it'd be a bit stupid. But Bjergsen's gone for Mercury Treads, obviously fearing the stuns, the taunts coming out from this Team Liquid side. Obviously, the Ashe Arrow is a very big threat into a Zoe who can just portal forward and get hit by Death Sentence. Speaking of which, he did just get hit by both. As well as the fact that there's a lot of lockups on this Team Liquid side. It also provides a bit of MR into his counter matchup, which he's going into the Syndra, something that is less favourable for him. So obviously I like that boot pickup for him. And you look at what Syndra's got, she's obviously got the Magic Pen boots, which I like obviously because she doesn't have to fear too much to Zoe. Realistically, Zoe can just burst her down with 1Q, but if she plays it smart, just hiding behind minions, she cannot realistically get hit by it. She may get hit by a Sleepy Trouble bubble here and there, but it's a fairly safe matchup for a Syndra nonetheless, and I like them boots options there from the mid laners as a whole. Anyway, let's flip up to top side of the map here, and Shen and GP we've not talked about in a while, as Herald is being dropped here mid. No turret plates on this turret, so this probably is going to fall here to this charge. Down it goes. TSM are hovering around here as Rakan, trying to come in from the side, is not going to do anything. He's just going to get vision as the Ocean Drake is available for each team here. And the top laners are both topsiders. Rakan's popping quickness, trying to get onto Team Liquid there. But the good thing for TSM there is Rakan didn't burn any summers, whereas Ashe burnt her flash. She has no real safety other than a Thresh Lantern to keep her out of the fight. But we may see a massive fight here. A Sleepy Trouble bubble is going to land on Core JJ, and Broxah steals the Drake. And realistically, Rakan cannot lock up anyone, as a cannon barrage was dropped down here. And Broxah is stuck in the back of the pit. He's just going to have to shuffle over the wall. Sleepy Trouble bubble is going to land onto Thresh. But both teams just disengaging there, as nothing was really lost. No real summer spells. Flash out Lee Sin, I guess, is the only one from TSM side. And on Team Liquid side, Ashe lost her flash. As we look at this again, watch Treats. He comes forward. He uses a quickness early. Ashe flashes away from the grand entrance, which would have hit if she didn't flash, because he would obviously have probably flashed onto her. But good play there for TSM to get the summoner out of the Ashe. And now that you've ultless though on your Rakan, it's very easy for Team Liquid to walk forward and try and contest this, as the burst damage coming out from the Graves just out damages a smite from Speaker, and Stan United from Impact comes in. He's just able to keep the Graves alive as he goes into the pit. It's kind of the traditional combo that you use with Shen. You put your ult onto the jungler so that he has a chance to smite it, and then you just obviously engage or disengage when need be, as TSM looking to siege up this mid wave. Broken Blade has come down to the mid wave as well and is going to get this turret. Fairly nicely done there by TSM to even out some of the gold. Obviously, they have somehow managed to accrue a 1k gold. No, they've evened out the gold here, even though Team Liquid are controlling the objectives here quite heavily, obviously getting a lot of turret plating across the map. But yeah, it's kept fairly even as a whole this game. And at this point, I would say that favours Team Liquid quite heavily. Because obviously, if we now look at this top lane matchup, as I was trying to get into before we were interrupted by the Drake fight, essentially it's come to the point where Shen is pretty much unkillable. He's got too much armor, and that means that he can't realistically be killed by Speaker or GP, or even Zion, unless he's stupid and gets caught out. But he can't be realistically killed in the 1v1 / maybe 2v2, meaning he kind of isn't a target for Team TSM to actually target. And yeah, that Sunfire Cape makes him very, very hard to deal with in minion waves. And Broken Blade's going to have a hard job in keeping him behind as he picks up his Essence Reaver for himself. He's also gotten the Trinity Force here, Broken Blade, so he has been doing quite well. Obviously, the 330 CS advantage that he's gained is going to accrue to where them items have come through, as the Ashe Arrow is going to go wide as Rakan W's away there. Sleepy Trouble bubble is not going to land, but TSM are looking to fight here as the cannon barrage was used already. Quickness comes through, and that's going to be first kill in this fight for Xayah. Status has been popped by Treats here, but Shen has arrived in this fight, and they're picking up kills here. It's going to be a 2 for 2 here, as Bjergsen is looking to run down Shen, and he's just going to get the Lantern out to safety. So both teams trading kills here. It's keeping this game very even. Obviously, same amount of goal lead. Bjergsen's going to gain a flash, so he's got 2 now in his back pocket. Impact may be caught out here. Sleepy Trouble bubble is not going to land, and he's forced to recall back to base. As we look at the damage in that last fight, Broken Blade went off. As we watch this again, Obviously, Rakan spotted out here. Ash Arrow narrowly misses. And this is the point where TSM look to fight, as that key ultimate is down. Cannon Barrage and the barrel chain from Broken Blade does so much. Then it's just Speaker and Treats diving the backline of Team Liquid. Syndra is the first target who gets charmed, and she just gets immediately popped. And then it's just trading the carries of Team Liquid and TSM keeping their carries alive, only the jungler and the support dying on their side, whereas the mid laner and the ADC from Team Liquid died in that fight. But that being said, Ashe pumped out a lot of damage in that fight, even if she is one to fall before anyone. Well, she didn't die before anyone else, but she was one of the last to die, and realistically, she managed to do so much that evened out that fight for Team Liquid. Anyway, we're probably coming to a lull point in the game, as I don't think Team Liquid, they're just starting this. Okay, they have full vision control. TSM are going to put the blue trinket down, so they do know it's happening, and that realistically should be a free Ocean Drake to TSM here, as Impact is forced away from the pit. But Team Liquid realistically still have full vision control of this Baron buff, and they do know that there is 3 members of TSM hovering around here. Scout of the Week is used to clear out the Raptor camp. But what else could Team Liquid get across the board? TSM even out the Drake count. And realistically, they should be on sole point here, TSM. Obviously, they had that Drake stolen from them. But Team Liquid control all the vision around this Baron. They do have to worry about the blue trinket in the inventory of Broken Blade, which is not on cooldown, so he can definitely use that. And TSM are feeling quite safe without actually clearing out any of the vision. That feels strange to me, as Team Liquid could realistically just go up there and take it, like a blind take, like a 2-man possibly. And yeah, that would be an issue, as Lee Sin is going to pick up for himself the Black Cleaver, obviously to try and shred through the armor of Shen, who is going to be a very hard target to kill for them. But Team Liquid are still keeping that pressure around this top side of the map. Speaker is down this bot side, and he is close to walking over a ward now. He has done so, and we could see Team Liquid turn straight to the Baron, but we are seeing Treat roam up into the Baron River, and TSM probably are going to clear out some of this vision. They're going to get that 1 ward, and Ash Arrow is going to hit onto the Xayah, but lovely cleanse there. It's fairly clever actually from Broken Blade there. He was waiting to see if he needed to use the cleanse. If not, he would just walked out, but obviously he had to use it because that death sentence from Core JJ would have landed, and he would have pulled in probably the Graves to come kill him. Anyway, now, looking at things right now, TSM have got a bit of back vision into the Baron pit. That ward, I don't think, is being stopped by the control ward there of Team Liquid, so TSM have a bit of Baron vision here. Whether or not Team Liquid will clear it out, I don't know, but there's definitely a while before TSM lose vision of the Baron, and Team Liquid are just going to clear out this topside jungle. Obviously, they're trying to set up the priority around this Baron here, which obviously, if TSM see there's a Syndra topside of the map in the top lane, highly likely Team Liquid want to play around Baron, and as such, TSM have to respect that and obviously try and set up a bit of vision, as well as clear out their top lane jungle. Because obviously they should know that Team Liquid have been wandering around in it, as a couple of big items have been picked up by some players here that we need to talk about. As Xayah has picked up her IE, that probably means with that rapid fire cannon, she's going to have a lot of crit damage on them feathers. That being said as well, Thresh has picked up his Gargoyle Stoneplate, as we may see Shen call out here, as 3 members from TSM are roaming up. Protobelt is going to be used here by Zoe, and the Sleepy Trouble Bubble is not going to land. That's probably going to force TSM to disengage here, but they are 4 members strong up here, and GP could just drop his ult. But Team Liquid roamed up to this top lane as well. They've got 2 members quite close, and the third could possibly come in with a lantern. So, yep, TSM just going to get that top lane turret. Going to force this pressure onto the map. Whereas Team Liquid going to get the bot wave pushed into this tier 2. Going to probably look to kill that off here. Obviously, Syndra is stealing away the blue buff of the Zoes. And TSM now 40 seconds away from the Ocean Drake and the possibility of Soul Point. Are looking to try and get some pressure onto the map here to obviously try and contest this. Big thing to note though is Syndra is pretty unburstable here with that Banshee's Veil finally has been popped by the Sleepy Trouble Bubbles Ludent's Echo proc. And yeah, TSM are just roaming around the map trying to get in behind Team Liquid. Obviously, the Team Liquid know where TSM are, as Sleepy Trouble Bubble is going to land onto Core JJ, but no follow-up is going to come through. And TSM clearing out a bit of vision into the entrance of the river, as Sleepy Trouble Bubble is going to hit again. Quickness is being used by Rakan. He's gone straight into the backline of Team Liquid, but he is immediately locked up. He is immediately stunned. He's going to force himself into status here, but he is going to get away from this fight. Speaker now is being targeted by Team Liquid, but Impact narrowly walks himself away from that fight, and TSM get away with murder there as Rakan gets saved by... What did he save himself with? Because he got a massive burst of health from somewhere. I don't know what gave him that, as that paddle start is going to miss, but the Sleepy Trouble Bubble is going to hit, and TSM going to get the third Drake for themselves. They're on Soul Point, and that is a huge thing, because Soul is going to be Ocean Soul, and that is a huge thing, especially if you're going into a Shen, and you've got a Rakan. It means that you can sustain through the engage of Team Liquid, but Team Liquid have immediately turned towards the Baron here. They might start this up as they hit it once. Well, Impact hits it once. They are though just going to get the Scuttle Crab, and TSM obviously drop the blue trinket onto the buff to make sure they are not on there. And thus, we see TSM winning a fight. That being said, they are slightly behind in gold, only 700 like, but they're still keeping this game fairly even. And it's only going to be an uphill battle from here, if in my opinion, because that Shen's going to be quite hard to kill. As we saw in that last fight, he took so much damage. He was essentially being a bullet sponge. And as a whole, stayed alive, allowed his team to do so much damage. And if he were to probably have died there, it probably would have meant that the entire Team Liquid team possibly were going to get aced there by the amount of damage on the TSM side. But Team Liquid walk their way into the Baron pit here, and they're going to drop the control ward to stop any vision on it, and they're just starting this up. They're two-manning it. Obviously, Core JJ clearing the ward there, and there is still technically one, but Team Liquid have got this Baron down to below half HP, and TSM nowhere near the pit. Speaker is not even walking towards it, and they're just going to get a free Baron there. That blue trinket didn't even matter, and TSM just get a Baron stolen away from them. Well, snuck away, I would be better in saying. But, wow. Team Liquid, using the vision control that they've established in that top side map that we've talked about for quite a while now, and realistically punishing TSM for poor control on the top side of the map. And, yep, they're finally seeing, hey, this is what we stole from you. Bye-bye. Yeah, that is essentially what Speaker's gone to see there, and TSM, wow, are in the back seat right now, because Team Liquid are going to control the map for quite a while. That 3k gold lead that they've established for themselves, it's going to be quite hard to chip away through, and as a whole, you don't want to be in that situation, because that means that you're going to probably lose this game, as the Shen's going to be able to split push the map. You've got a Syndra who's been going up to the top side of the map and pushing that in, so more than likely going to split push up there. So you're probably going to see a 1-3-1 as the Ash Arrow is going to hit onto double lift. He's forced to Zaya ult there. And might not have needed to have done that, but playing it safe. But TSM are going to lose their tier 2 turret in the mid wave, and a lot of damage, well, a bit of damage done to the inhib turret there, means that TSM are going to have to play quite safe here, as not much can realistically be done to stop this siege from Team Liquid. So, inhib turrets are being hit up here by Team Liquid. They're using their baroned up cannon minions to do so much damage. TSM, though, are pushing the waves back in response, using the broken blade barrels to kill off quite a lot of the minions here. And as such, it's going to be quite hard for Team Liquid to crack open the base with this first baron. And realistically, they're going to reset now, because in less than a minute's time from now is the Ocean Drake, and that is more than likely Soul if TSM gets it. TSM realistically should have Soul by now, but obviously with that Drake stolen against them, it is going to be very hard for them to actually get out their base and contest this. And as such, the Ocean Drake is going to be a big contention for both teams here, as Impact is just going to stay topside. He can do this. He's got Stand United, and he TP'd topside as well, because his TP isn't actually on cooldown. So it's going to force Broken Blade to actually come up there, and Team Liquid are going to play this map quite smartly here, as Broken Blade is forced to stay up there, and here's the advantage for Team Liquid. Stand United's cast time is a lot shorter than a TP cast time. And as such, it means it's going to be quite hard for him to actually stop, well, to recall, as they're just fighting topside, as Broken Blade's TP was cancelled. Shen could essentially just join the fight for free. He hasn't used his Stand United yet, and here we go. Stand United is coming in here by onto Core JJ, and Shen is already here in the fight. This is a 5v4, as the cannon barrage is dropped though by Broken Blade to make his presence known, but the Drake is down below half HP. Speaker isn't even in the pit. He's finally got in there, and now it's Soul over to TSM, and here we go. Here's a fight as Team Liquid are chunking down TSM. They've already caught out Bjergs, and he is already down. Double lift, it's going to be probably the second fall here, as he's on his lonesome here. He's forced to roll out, and the Graves has killed off Rakan here, and TSM are down so many members, as Shindra has just used the Scatter Week and has landed it onto the Lee Sin, and he is dead. Team Liquid are looking to finish this game with only Broken Blade left alive for TSM, and he's going to be forced back to this fountain here, as Team Liquid are coming running down the mid wave. They're going to be hitting up this inhib turret here. What can Broken Blade do? His barrel chain is not going to do anything, and Team Liquid are going to get this inhibitor. Team Liquid are going to get this Nexus turret, and Team Liquid are going to get this game. Scatter Week, though, is going to land on 2 Broken Blade, and he is just looking to dive into the backline. So Rakan comes in. The W is too late, my friend. Your teammate has died, and Team Liquid are killing the Nexus. They're going to take this win from TSM and put them down into 4th place. What a game from Team Liquid. They played the map to perfection. They used their vision to perfection. They controlled everything from the end of this game. That was such a phenomenal display from this team, who just used their Shen advantage perfectly. Obviously, Shen cancelling the TP of Broken Blade into that last fight, making it essentially a 5v4 and very winnable for Team Liquid. Yes, they lost Soul, but they did not care. They just took the game out of TSM's hands, and that was phenomenal from them. But TSM, you have to feel for them. Obviously, having the second Ocean Drake stolen from them by Team Liquid is going to hurt. And as said, when that gets stolen from you, you've got to have some worry when you're coming into playoffs this week and you're facing off against a team who are on an even pegging to you in Golden Guardians. And as such, it's going to be quite hard for probably Speaker to feel confident in doing these objectives, and that realistically, you don't want to have that mindset going into best of threes, because you're going to have a possible 7, 8, 9, maybe 10 smite objectives that you're going to have to contest against a jungler who's feeling a lot more confident, who's been playing a lot better than you, and yeah, that is a huge thing to say. As for Team Liquid, they're going to be watching this TSM Golden Guardian series that's coming up on Thursday, and they're going to be looking at these two teams, and after their performance against TSM here, it was quite close, but they still had solid control of the game throughout, and realistically outdrafted TSM for late game. Something of which that TSM were used to be known for was their late game and out macroing teams. Nowadays, they're just known for not having one of the strongest late games. Anyway, that's going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed it, leave a like down below, subscribe if you're under, or if you want to, and boy howdy is it hot. Right, peace out guys.